Hello and welcome to Channel's Book Club. I am Olakunle Kasumo. Thank you for joining us as always. Today we are going all poetry, and while doing that, we hope you'll be inspired to be on the lookout for book and poetry events that are fast growing in number, especially in the big cities. Let's get started with Aduke Gomez. She's a lawyer, poet, and writer who just published a collection of poems that share some of her memories acquired over many years from many people and in many places. She put together a book event in Lagos, southwest of Nigeria, spiced with readings, conversations, and dances. Come along with us to experience it through the following report.
Book events can provide perfect settings for the unusual combination of fun, relaxation, and intellectual stimulation.
I'm not on your table. I'm not disturbing you. You're like 2 tables away.
And contrary to general opinions, they are getting increasingly well attended in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
This particular one is focused on Aduke Gomez's collection of poems published in her book titled While I'm Here, Let Me Quickly Tell You About. The author reads from her book.
Grandmothers can dance too. And I realized this only recently. I miss dancing with others. Miss the appreciative glances. Miss that feeling you get when your feet fall into rhythm with the steps of a stranger. And miss that secret intimacy hidden in a smile that extends for the duration of a dance, as if you have known and been comfortable with each other for years. So, I shall stop my half-hearted seated attempts, wriggling on my chair like a child told to keep still. I shall certainly no longer care about the opinions of that rude person stomping back in disgust to a dark corner of the room after I ignored no doubt well-meaning advice to sit my grandma self back down. Instead, rising to my feet, I shall kick off my shoes, adjust the angle of my gele, just so, and twirl my hips around the dance floor.
Guests also read.
My personal space was an arena for all to skirmish in. No hesitation, no apologies. At the markets of bale of fabrics, they were stacked up colorful and bright. Adure, Ankara, Ashoeke. The name slippery like the unbound cloth, wrapping me in possibilities. Perhaps a dance one day, but for now, still no drums. A pilgrimage to that trading post town, prettied up now, a veneer for the horror. A straight line across an ocean, away from the city of my birth, descending from people who survived, the children of the ones they could not kill. A journey of loss, despair, and fear. And then I heard it. Just below my beating heart, my pulse quickening the cadence, now playing a rhythm of return. The faith that had been passed down to me. Yes, certainly. Here were the drums.
And the poems are given expressions in dances.
When the babies are hungry and their mothers past caring, when the young have no work and the old no saving, take a step, take my hand.
I am an African woman. And so I have learned to greet. Ẹ káàárọ̀. I greet you in the morning, so your day will be long and prosperous. Ó dọ̀la. I greet you at night, so your sleep will be sweet, and you will awaken refreshed to realize your dreams.
There's a thought on the book from a director's perspective.
I loved the poems. The whole book reminded me of a particular Matisse painting that I like, which has a woman in a sort of bathrobe, and there's a vase of flowers and a table, and she looks like she has a minute to sit there, which in Lagos is not an easy thing to find, to just sit next to some flowers and read a book like this. So for me, it kind of like I saw it as a visual, the entire book as one painting, because it's the experience of sitting and knowing that, okay, I can read this, you know, in bits, or I can read it and all at once.
Poetry seems to be seen by many people as elitist. Aduke Gomez accepts this reality, but makes a case for her favorite form of expression.
The thing about poetry is that it works the way our minds work. It works in rhythm. I think it helps us, at least it helps me, to actually put my thoughts in place. But I think there is a lot of poetry. I think perhaps it's just not written down in books. But there's a lot of spoken word artists out there.
There are also questions, and one prompts the author to discuss poets and writers who have inspired her most.
Poetry has a bad rap. It's always seen as complex, elitist, it doesn't speak to people. But I think it's the opposite. I think as humans, our first works were poems. Homer wrote in poetry. And from there, and I think we've lost it. And I think the thing about poetry is that it works the way our minds work. It works in rhythm. I think it helps us, at least it helps me, to actually put my thoughts in place. But I think there is a lot of poetry. I think perhaps it's just not written down in books. But there's a lot of spoken word artists out there.
Guests share their experiences and thoughts on a growing culture of attending literary events as a way of relaxing.
The way they were written, you know, and the way it was accompanied by the dancing, that is very unique. And what surprised me most on my age is that I noticed that a lot of young people who are interested in this thing present, which makes a fantastic impression on me.
It was very interesting. The author, Aduke Gomez, is a very talented writer, and it's unusual for people to write poetry in Nigeria. There's always a tendency more for prose and for novels. So it was very interesting. I enjoyed the evening. I enjoyed the way that it was explained, because a number of the poems, I had read them, but I didn't always fully understand the thinking behind the poems. So coming here was very, very educative, instructive, and entertaining. It was a very relaxing evening, an evening with friends, an evening with people who are interested in literature. So it's a nice break.
It was a very nice one, because I believe that more people should come out and write, basically to express themselves. And today we witnessed an individual who was able to express herself using all her experiences and discussions with different people over the years. And she's able to share it with all of us so that we can all then use that to hopefully translate into what we all do in our daily lives.
It's good to see art being embraced more in Nigeria, because I think art is an expression of culture, and as you see by it, you know, it's good to promote Nigerian culture and you know, things we're capable of doing. You know, it's good to spread the Nigerian culture and story and experience overseas, which is why I'm happy they're doing things like this, and I hope things like this just keep, you know, gaining ground and moving forward in Nigeria.
The next time you're thinking of how to spend a free evening, perhaps you may want to consider finding somewhere to enjoy expressions from a book.